This is Stephen Powell, the man seated in the interrogation room, visibly shaken, overwhelmed, and struggling to comprehend a reality that feels impossible. He is facing the unthinkable, the possibility that his own daughter played a role in the violent death of his wife, Brenda Powell. Just moments before this interview begins, Stephen is told that his 19-year-old daughter, Sydney, has confessed to attacking her mother inside their Akron home, using a steak knife and a cast-iron skillet. It raises questions no family ever expects to confront. What drove Sydney to commit such a brutal act? Was it anger, fear, or something far more complex simmering beneath the surface? And ultimately, what was the true motive behind this devastating crime?
Hello? I'm at the police station. I don't. Nope. Yeah. Why is that? They said they're not at Akron City. His mom said they haven't processed her yet. Where would she be?
I didn't want to see.
Yeah, I heard City. They were going to Akron. General Dave came back and said they're going to City.
Maybe the information isn't input yet or something, I don't know, but...
It's been a long time. My mom should be there too, and so should my brother. Yeah, I just talked, yeah, all right. I don't know yet. He was supposed to stay for lacrosse practice. Supposed to stay from 3 to 5:30. Yeah, but he will be okay. And then we'll go from there. All right. Bye-bye. If they haven't gotten there yet, that doesn't seem right.
Out there.
They haven't processed, sorry.
Right.
Does that make sense? In a trauma, I'm assuming what it would be.
Well, they would take them in and start working on it. Paperwork and enter it in the computer comes later.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, well, big parts. Getting treated. So you said it's her mom and dad, or her mom?
Her mom and stepdad.
Her stepdad, Bob.
Yeah, Bob. Yeah, Bob.
Yeah. And then your mom's going?
Yeah, my mom's going, and then my brother.
And Dave's going?
Yeah, Dave. And that's I probably should call somebody else, but I wouldn't know.
Where's Greg at nowadays?
Brunswick. I believe he's just teaching up there in Brunswick. I don't know if it's
Teaching?
Yeah.
You guys are teaching. Yeah. Greg. Was he
Good
elementary
question.
or high school?
Yeah, it's middle school, I believe. Good question.
I don't know. That's what's he was a teacher.
I'm not quite sure either.
That's what he was a teacher. Just from what I remember, but probably could send me as a copy or something.
No, that's
And Dave's still in Akron?
yeah.
He's not North Carolina, is he?
Yeah, he's still there.
Is he? I think we went to his house once upon a time.
Yeah, you had a suicide call there. Was Brooke or somebody? Brooke was a baby.
Yeah.
I said, over on, he lives on, what the fuck's the name of his in Riverside and, you know how you go around Riverside, Pitkin, Riverside up the hill, Collinwood. Almost on the corner of Collinwood. There's a house on the corner of Collinwood, and his house is a house that sits. The garage is in the back. I think you guys were partners.
That was years.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I don't remember, I don't remember the details.
The call came out of suicide. And you got took a bear. I remember, those are the details I remember.
Oh, Mike.
Hey, what do you want to see?
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
So, this is the consent to search here. How do you spell your first name?
Steven.
You can look it over. Just gives us
3.
Who'd you get a call from? Or what happened?
Got a call from him.
Call from me.
Oh, okay.
He said there was a call, went out, a distress call from the University of Mount Union where my daughter was going, and said, female in distress. And I said, well, that's funny because Brenda's there, my wife. So I said, well, let me call. So I called Brenda, and it rings and rings on the cell phone, no answer. I call Sydney back, rings and rings and rings, no answer. I call Brenda back, ring, no answer. I'm pacing around. I call Jeep back, and as I'm on the phone with him, telling him there's no answer, my doctor calls me back and said, "Oh, Mom's on the phone with Mount Union." I said, "Well, cops are on the way," and she went, "There's been a break-in," and she just started going off. She said, "What?" She said, "There's been somebody broke into the house. There's blood everywhere." And I'm like, "Stop!" And then I started. That's when I called. I'm sure there was conversations after that, but I'm not going to remember the detail. She was hysterical and crying. I called Jeep back and said, "Yeah, I don't know what I told you. I don't know if I said it was legit or yeah, it's the cops on the way. There's been a break-in, city," and I left. Drove home and saw about.
So at first, when you talked to her, she said that your wife was on the phone with Mount Union.
Yes.
And
As soon as I said cops are on the way, the hysterics started.
Is she still attending Mount Union?
Well, as far as we knew up until today, yes, but apparently not for the last, I don't know, maybe couple weeks. Because I tried to get on, I don't know, this was a couple weeks ago, I tried to get on the website to I like to check the balance, and she's been coming home on and off on the weekends a little, just odd, little frequently. Not never seemed odd for sorts, you know, I mean, it's acted perfectly normal. But she came back and I'm like questioning, well, why aren't you at school? Why are you coming home? And, you know, it's all the same, just, you know, the vague non-answers. And so she turned off her like Life 360 app. But I think on that app, you can't see where she's going. You can kind of see highlights of where the phone was. Well, you know, I'm kind of looking, I'm like, going, well, you're not where you're supposed to be. This is kind of weird. So I called her on it and I said, you know, Mount, because I went on, so then I tried to go on the Mount Union website and say, I figured, I was going to see if there's anything on that. Parents only have so much, you know.
Right.
I'm willing to pay the bill and everything, but if you want to find anything about it, you're out of luck.
Right.
So, but I figured I'm going to try. So I sign on. It says your password or your login or password ID doesn't work. I'm like, well, that's weird. So I recover my password and I put in the right answer and it didn't work. And I did that a few times and I texted her back and said, something's not working. What's wrong? She comes up with something that says the website's down, basically. And you know, but I'm working on it. So a few days passed later. Nothing seems out of the ordinary until maybe it was today, I tried to get back. Well, Mount Union calls me today because I sent them an email that says, my user ID is this, my ID is this, my password's not working, my recovery answer won't work, and I know where I was born, I know my car, and it doesn't, when you type in your recovery email, the system just, it didn't recognize it. So I sent Mount Union Building an email and says, basically, what's wrong? So she calls me back today and says, well, the reason you can't get on, long story short, is your daughter's unenrolled. So I went, what's going on? So I text Sydney, I'm like, oh, give me a call. I have a question to ask you. I call her, no answer. I say, give me a call, I have a question to ask you. And I look on that little Life 360 app, and her car was at home. I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. So I leave my phone at home so she can't track me. And I go home, and there she is. She's at home. Perfectly normal. She's crying because I said, what's going on? Are you not going to school? She goes, I'm overwhelmed in school, and I don't really like what I'm doing, and it seems like it's a waste of my time and your money. I said, well, but that's all part of it. Nobody's going to tell you you need to do what you're doing when you're 20. You need to figure it out, though. But you have to work through the problem. You can't just ignore the problem and have it go away. It's not
I'm sorry, when did you have that conversation?
today, like 11:30. I don't remember. Yeah, it was. I left work because it was before lunch. It was maybe around 11 because I was probably there from 11 to 11:30. So from her phone call. So that, I mean, that's what I said. You know, my recommendation is call the school back, call the student union, get reinstated. And then if you have to take the summer off, take the summer off. Figure out what you want. She was going to take summer class because she changed a couple majors. And that's what she goes, all my friends have their shit together and I don't. I said, well, I'm 54 and I don't have my shit together. That, you know, don't look at it that way. You need to work the problem. You can't just have the problem sit there and ignoring it is not going to do you any good. So I went back, I called my wife from my daughter's phone. She picks up, she was working down at Children's. And she goes, what's wrong? And I basically told her, I said, you know, I mean, Sydney, I think the reason we can't get on is because she's unenrolled. She hasn't been going to school. She goes, well, and then we talked to Jill, her boss, and says, I'll see if I can come home. So I left. On the way home, I either on my way back to work or when I'm at work, I call Brenda, and she's like, well, I'm just pulling in now. So I let it go, and then I get a text from Brenda that says, she says something to the effect of she was on the phone waiting for someone from Student Affairs to call me back. And that was at 12:36. She said, how much was the check that they're returning? Because Mount Union told me too before with the phone conversation, we're returning your check. I'm like, well, you know, nobody would return a check. So I said, I texted her back at 12:36, and I said I had no idea. It was electronic. I said, check on the scholarship too. Make sure she didn't lose that at 12:37. At 12:39, I got on the bank account, and I said, maybe. I go, $5,435. And then at 12:41, what did you discuss with her? And that was it.
So 12:41 was the last.
12:41 was the last, and I don't know how to tell what time I got his call. Recent. It's been 12:54. 12:54 seems like it because then I called, maybe it was a little before that. Maybe it was 12:51. That sounds maybe right.
What is your phone?
So at 12:49 I called and I think it went to run. I don't know if it connected or not. I don't know how to do that. 12:51 a call from Jeep. Then at 12:52 I called Brenda. 12:53 I called Sydney. 12:53 I called Brenda. 12:54 I called Jeep and said there's no answer. Here, you can look at it. So I don't know. So I called Jeep and said there's no answer. Then while I'm on the phone with Jeep, Sydney calls back, and that was that conversation.
Hi. Christy?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Crystal.
Hi.
How are you?
Okay.
Mr. Miranda?
Hi. So then that was it. Then after that, then I left once I talked to Sydney, and I hightailed it home.
How are you doing? Can I do anything for you right now?
No, not right now. Not yet. Once I go where I need to be.
Yes.
That's fine. That's fine. That's
Now, how long has she been acting funny about it?
just been a couple weeks. I mean, yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't remember when she came home that first time, kind of out of the blue, but that was.
She said she was stressed out.
She told me that today. That she was overwhelmed.
Is she on any medication? Or
Nope. No.
Has she ever tried like marijuana?
I don't know. I didn't think she drank until the first time she drank, and then I think she
How long
realized
was that?
it was last year. It was her freshman year, and I'm sure she does. I'm not going to be,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say she doesn't, but I don't think it was ever a problem. But not an expert in that field.
Has she ever had any psychological problems in the past?
No. She's always been, shy and, reserved, and that was always the problem is, she never says anything. So Brenda said she didn't realize she was having her period until tampons are missing. Excuse my language. So that's just the kind of person that she was. It was all, internalized, and that's why I told her now. I said, well, nobody can help you if you don't tell what the problem is.
Did she say anything else about the break-in or anything like that?
Just hysterics. Said there was a break-in and there's blood everywhere, and I'm like, where's your mother? And she's just nothing.
What is your daughter's phone? Do you know that out there?
I don't,
You're
but this does.
Yeah, you're probably like me. I don't know.
I don't know. I know mine.
I just have the names in there.
I'm not sure if I know how to do this, to be honest. I'm not quite sure how to find it. What do I call it? That's for sure.
That's it.
Yeah.
S-Y.
Correct.
Do you know your wife's? Were you able to go in the house at all?
I made it in far enough to see the back fit. When you go into the front door, you come around the kitchen, you go in, you can see there's like a pass-through between the kitchen and the family room.
Uh-huh.
The back of the house, I could see the right hand, there's two big sliding windows. I could see that window was clearly, it looked like it was busted, and the blinds they looked like they were pushed in. Went down the hallway probably about 2 feet, just enough to see blood all the way down the hallway, and then somebody told me I gotta go. As I was yelling, there was no response from Brenda.
Now the back door, the sliding door, do you guys use that at all?
No, there's a couch in front of it. We do in the summer, when the couch is moved, the love seats usually move from the sliding doors here. The couches you moved over into like this area, and we can go back out that back door for the like the patio and stuff.
And that's locked.
Uh-huh.
Do you have like a safety?
There's a lock, and there's a lock on the bottom of it too.
Okay.
And the sliding glass one, there's a lock, but I'm sure the button wasn't.
On the window? Or
Yeah, the window. There's sliding windows is what was busted open.
Right, that's all.
Okay, yeah, there's the sliding door that we haven't used it since last probably fall. Once we got our Christmas tree on Thanksgiving, we moved the couch out of the way and put the tree in that corner.
Well, I have really bad news. Your wife passed away.
What happened?
We're not sure. It looks like, I don't think someone broke into the house. I don't know if your wife and daughter got into an argument or got physical. I mean, the window was broken, but there's no forced entry into the house. The window's broken, but nobody actually came through that window. And the sliding door was unlocked. So, did your wife and daughter ever have like really heated
No.
arguments?
No. No.
So we're here for you, Steve. We're here for anything that happens from here on out, okay?
is not possible.
So sorry this is happening.
I'm gonna go. Where can I go?
Your son's outside, but he doesn't know anything that's going on.
My son's here?
Yes. We got him from school because in a situation, the way social media is, people, we didn't want him to be at school by himself.
Would you like one of us to just go be with your son?
I don't know. I don't know.
Take your time. You know, there's no rush for any here. Are there any other family members you want us to call over?
Just her mom's at the hospital.
Okay.
So, they didn't tell her. They're not gonna tell her anything.
Who's that, her mom?
Yeah. Will they tell the mama?
No, I didn't even know she was at the hospital. I know she went, but I wasn't sure where.
What is her mom's name?
Betsy.
Betsy.
Same last, what's the last?
Brown.
Betsy Brown.
Is there anyone who would pick up your child?
He's
here.
He's here.
I mean, do you want him to stay with you, or
I don't know. I
okay?
don't know what to do.
Take your
I don't
time.
know what to do.
That's
So
why
we're all
we're
in to
here.
help you.
That's why we're here.
I have nowhere to go. Nothing to do. Can't go home.
How long will it be before he could go home? Because I know there's an investigation that has to happen.
Probably at least 3 hours.
At least 3 hours. Or
I don't want to go home. I want to go.
No, that's what I'm saying. We have a Bureau of Criminal Investigations coming in to do process the same times.
Can I go to the hospital?
Which,
City? Am I allowed to go?
trying to,
I don't know.
who do you want to go see?
By the end of it all, the damage left behind is irreversible. This case does not simply close, it fractures a family forever. Stephen Powell walked into that room searching for clarity, but instead came face to face with a truth no parent should ever have to endure. And regardless of how the legal process unfolds, nothing can undo what has already been lost. Brenda Powell cannot be brought back, and the life this tragedy destroyed can never be fully restored.